Razorback Nation, welcome back into episode 30 of Hawgs on the Hill, your go-to Arkansas Razorback podcast, where we bring you in-depth analysis every week on all things Arkansas Razorbacks. And before we get started, you cannot forget about our lovely sponsor over at Home Field. Christmas time is getting here. It's the perfect time to go on and get your, favorite Razorback fan a new shirt, new pullover, new hoodie, whatever it may be. Go check Home Field. You can step into the legacy of collegiate style with Home Field's premium vintage apparel. You can embrace the spirit of your alma mater or even your favorite team with their meticulously crafted, comfortable, and stylish collections. Elevate your game day attire and celebrate the rich history of sports. Home Field, where tradition meets modern comfort in every stitch. Variety Sports in all caps will get you 15% off that first order. They've got a lot of fantastic Razorback stuff over there for you to check out. And, man, we have a jam-packed episode tonight. We're going to talk Sam Pittman's press conference today. He finally broke silence since the Missouri game. We have Razorback signee, four-star linebacker Tavion Wallace joining us here in a little bit. Plus, we will talk the big win Coach Cal and Arkansas had in New York and how much of a momentum builder that can be for the rest of the season as they come back home to play UCA in Little Rock on Saturday. So we'll just jump right in here. Before we dive into press conference, right before we jumped on, we got a portal pop, if you will. Jac'Qawn McCrory, the mountain of a man offensive tackle that is transferring out of Oregon, now committed to Arkansas. 6'8", 375, will be headed to Arkansas to play for Coach Pittman next season, and this is a big get. He was a four-star lineman in last year's class. Was really down between Arkansas and Oregon last year. Apparently his mom wanted him to go here. He ultimately chose to go to Oregon. Didn't see a lot of time or playing time this year. Just because the talent over there at Oregon, the depth that they have. So he decided, I'm going to hit the portal and see where I can play. And sure enough, Arkansas is going to need to kind of rebuild that offensive line. As we know, about 60% is in the portal. You got Addison Nichols in the portal, Patrick Kudus, Tykees Crawford, Josh Braun. So a lot of your linemen in depth is in the portal. And he's a guy, not saying he's going to come in and start right away, but he's got the physical traits to come in and, work in the offseason, strength conditioning, work with Eric Mateos, and could potentially be a key piece for this Arkansas offensive line next season.
Yeah, man. This is someone they wanted really, really bad last year, right? He was a 95 rated guy on 24/7, 93 if you do the composite. Still top 100 dude. He's really quick for like how big he is. If you can just go back to like 247 and watch some of the little clips they have, the dude is really good, especially with his feet work for being such a big guy. And I'm telling you, dude, that like 6'8", 375 and can run a 15-yard touchdown catch. You remember that viral video that came out when he was in high school? It was almost, I think he lined up at tight end and he declared himself eligible, or no, I don't even know if he was eligible, but anyway, he caught it like over on the hashes, on the other hash mark, and then ran it in for a touchdown. And man, if we're bringing big man touchdowns back to Fayetteville, I'm all for it.
100% here. His nickname is Shaq because he actually grew up playing basketball, and he earned the name of Shaq, rightfully so. And in 2023 in high school, he was the starting right tackle for his team that went 14-0 and won the Alabama 6A state title. And I think here's what you're saying. He caught a pass for a 2-point conversion.
Was it 2-point conversion?
Yes.
Okay.
But, I mean, with what Arkansas has going out and the emphasis on the portal, and if you got a chance to watch the replay of Sam Pittman's press conference today, he seemed pretty confident that they could get the job done in the portal. That's how he was feeling. And another guy, speaking of the portal, that kind of plays into Pittman's press conference. You had Selman Bridges, Arkansas defensive back Selman Bridges, withdraw his name from the portal. That's another big one for Arkansas. Is he's a 4-star from last year's class, super talented, that Arkansas got last year, but never really saw the field this year, just some of the depth we had. Well, with him coming back, he has a chance to probably start in the bowl game, which, as Pittman said in his press conference, will be development for some of these guys that are going to have to step up and play, because you have a lot of positions that you're going to have to piece in and put together for this bowl game. But he's a guy that withdrew the portal. And, of course, you had all the stuff going on Tuesday with Braylon Russell, with him entering his name into the portal, then pulling his name back out of the portal. Maybe he kind of had a change of heart, had a discussion with Pittman. They like, kind of telling him, hey, maybe we can match what you want, but also if you stay here, you have the chance to, have a heavy snap share next year, because you're losing Ja'Qawn Jackson. He's going pro. One could assume Ja'Qawn or Rashad Dubinian's coming back. No word on him yet. Arkansas is looking at a couple of transfer portal running backs, but a guy that could play big minutes for Arkansas next year.
Yeah. And the more and more I think about it, there's the saying, don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to ignorance, right? So it's pretty much saying don't automatically assume that whatever perceived slight was done with, purpose. So at first I was like, that's just shady, right? Because by now most people know the story. Trey Biddy said, hey, he's gone. Mason Choate texted him or sent him a DM on Twitter and said, hey, are you leaving? And Braylon told him no. And then whenever it came out that he was in the portal, Mason Choate sent a screenshot of everything and said that he lied to him. And, I don't know how the process works. I don't know how long it takes for stuff to go through necessarily. And I also don't know how easy it is to send one by accident, and whenever I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it went in and it came right back out. It felt like it wasn't done on purpose. And right. I don't know it. You guys don't know it. All I'm saying is be happy that we got a great running back coming back, and, show him grace and just let's forget about it, because, hey, he's going to be back here and he's going to be one of the best backs in the SEC. That's my prediction for next year, because the dude is a tank.
Oh, 100%. And bringing any of these transfer portal backs in is just going to be depth, honestly, because with what flashes you saw this year and all the snaps that are going to have to be replaced from Ja'Qawn, you're going to have somebody to step up, and I think he's the perfect person. He's got the build for it. He's just going to have another off season in the weight room to just get stronger, leaner, bigger, faster, all of those things. And I'm excited. It has the chance to be big, but he's not going to have as much success as the potential is there until we get some offensive line figured out. And that's why this commitment from Ja'Qawn McCroy is big, because that just, that's going to be help. Perfect example here. I don't think he necessarily lied to him, just changed his mind, fluid situation. And that's probably honestly what it was, he doesn't necessarily, maybe wasn't 100% sure. And like you said, I don't know how quickly something can be put in and taken back out, things like that.
Yeah. And the way that how quickly it happened, I don't even know if it was a change of mind. I think maybe he was preparing before, or, maybe just getting the paperwork out, seeing what his options were, and having it ready to go when maybe the slip of a finger accidentally submitted it, or someone other than him accidentally submitted it. We don't exactly know how it all works. I'm not going to act like I've been through the process or helped someone through the process, but it's all it is was an accident. And I see the next comment if you want to pull that up. As far as saying that he owes him an apology, I would say no, he doesn't owe him, but it would be nice for him to apologize, right? Because I mean, mistakes happen and fingers were pointed and all, and, it's just like, hey, we're all right. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to make you look bad, and go on with their lives. I mean, they're going to be covering it. He's going to be covering him for a while. So they need to get back in good graces of each other, I guess.
Yeah. And the only confusing thing to me is if it might have been an accident was, did he accidentally go ahead and tell Hayes Fawcett to say, hey, go ahead and post your graphic or whatever, me entering the portal?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only confusing part about me is unless that was maybe, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm just glad he's back. And, so is Josh Wilbanks. He's back as well. So we're glad you're back too, Josh. But so at the end of the day, I think it's just, I think we all as Arkansas fans can just be glad Braylon Russell, a top in-state talent, is back for this Arkansas running back room. Yeah. Still waiting to hear from Rashad Dubinion. As far as other guys on the roster at that position, we know Rodney Hill's back. Tyrell Reed is back. We got the notification today. Taylor Green's going to be running it back, which is big. I mean, as much as maybe some people didn't necessarily like him this year, he had some ups and downs this year. On top of what Arkansas has already lost to the portal, to lose your starting quarterback would have just made things worse. Pittman did say in his press conference that they really like KJ Jackson. So I feel like right now you can probably pencil him in as QB2. And then who knows what's going to happen between spring and summer ball and going into next season with Grayson Wilson coming in and Madden Imaliava coming in as well. Getting it down.
We're going to have to learn it. Yeah.
But as of right now, they say they really like him. So, yes, Josh, we did get this big guy out of Oregon. We were talking about him earlier. Jac'Qawn McCrory, the 6'8", 375 offensive tackle, has committed to Arkansas tonight per his Instagram. But as far as you think in the portal, Pittman did mention in his press conference as well how he has 29 visits set up. That's a lot of people coming through the program, seeing what it's all about. Some came in. There's some today, some tomorrow, throughout the weekend. And in Pittman's press conference was something I want to address that, everybody was wondering, was like, oh, this is all because of NIL and everything like that. Pittman addressed it in the press conference saying, we have money. He said the donors have been generous. That's not a problem. So to hear him say that, it was interesting to me. And then you hear him talk a little bit more. These guys leaving is a little bit more of maybe like Austin and I were talking before the show. Pittman and the staff and maybe these players, during the season, right after the season, exit meetings or end of season, whatever you want to call it, said that, maybe they said, okay, this is what we're going to, pay you next season. This is what it's going to be. Well, he mentioned you have these kids' agents out there potentially calling other schools being like, hey, Ole Miss, if so-and-so enters the portal, what will you pay us? Or, hey, Mississippi State, or hey, Texas A&M, if so-and-so enters the portal, what would you be willing to pay? And then they take that information back to these players, and the players come back to coaches and be like, well, I kind of, got some information, or I changed my mind, and here's my new number of, I'm going to stay, and then, or here's what I need to stay, or I'm going to, hit the portal. And, Pittman said, if we just gave everybody what they wanted, we would be broke or be running out of money. And so, like this comment here, I am glad Sam, came out and finally addressed, the fans, the media, everybody. And it is the Wild West out there. It's essentially free agency in college now. That's what you're looking at. I mean, your initial thoughts on what he said there regarding, that and these kids deciding to enter the portal after, maybe getting some, not 100% reliable, but some information from people about their quote unquote worth or what they should be paid.
Right. So yeah, that's the way I took it. Because he really emphasized the team going 6-6, right? He's like, we went 6-6. This is what we as a group, valued your production, right? And whenever they were completely off with numbers, they're like, you know what? If you want to come back, that's great, but you probably move on, right? It's like if I go and see my boss at work and I'm like, hey, I need a raise, or I got this other company that's going to take it, and they're going to give me a raise. I'm going to get a different job. What they're going to say is, well, either one, does your value match what the number is for them? And if it doesn't, they'll say, well, congratulations on your new job. I hope you do well. See you later. Always come back later. That's basically what this is. It's a job now. It's no longer you're just there, to get through school or to get to the NFL. It's your job. You're going to get paid. So that's the way they're handling it. And if they didn't perform like they really wanted them to, and it doesn't match the number they came up with, they might as well just save that number or save that money. Like they said, they have a pool of NIL money to use in the transfer portal, and go get some guys that you think are going to do better. Now that's kind of a gamble, but that's the way business is. You kind of gamble a little bit. You say, well, I think I can get somebody better for cheaper. And that's the free market, that's the way it works. And right now they're going out, and you already see it with Selman Bridges coming back. We don't know his situation. I'm not trying to, act like I do, but it might have been something like that. He might have went out, saw what people were offering him, and was like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to come back.
Yeah. So we'll come back to this portal talk and the press conference from Sam Pittman. But right now we're getting ready to welcome Tavion Wallace to the show, Arkansas's newest linebacker that signed for this upcoming class. Tavion, welcome to the show. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
So, we over here at Razorback Nation are excited to have you be a Razorback. So, just talk to us a little bit about kind of your initial, whenever you got the offer from Arkansas, came visited, talked to Coach T. Will, in your visit. What was that like? And, kind of what did you really like about Arkansas?
Oh, I could say with talking to T. Will about Arkansas and everything, it was like basically like him just telling me how it was, because he from down south too. So like he was like, you're gonna be amazed when you take this visit. So like when I took the visit, I told my mom, I was like, yeah, this is the place I want to be. And then like about Arkansas, why I chose Arkansas, just like the family feeling, the relationships I have with the fans, the people, the coaches, and the players there.
Yeah, bro. So you gave me a heart attack, just so you know. So we're gonna have to talk about that. So the jab at Florida. So what was that about? And you were it was between us and Florida State. Most people felt like, and you came with us instead. But so why Florida though, and not Florida State?
I really did that for like the attention it got, because like a lot of my teammates, they was like, "Oh, you flipping to Florida today?" I was like, "All right, I'm gonna let y'all think that." So like me and my brothers, we had it all planned out. We planned it the day before, so it was just pretty fun to see everybody's reaction that I got.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you definitely got me. I was watching. I was like, oh no, here we go again. And then no, you're coming to us. So I'm glad to have you here, man. So
Yes,
you mentioned T. Will a little bit ago. What about T. Will do you really like? Personally?
I can say how he remained consistent over the like 5 years I known him because my brother was actually committed to him when he was at Auburn. So like we just been building this relationship for like 5 years now, and then he hasn't changed not one bit throughout the 5 years. So I can say that kept him at the top for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So what can Razorback Nation expect from you on your field? Kind of on the field, kind of talk about your style of play and what you're going to be able to do for this Arkansas defense.
As a player, I would describe myself as very versatile. I can guard running backs, receivers. I come out the edge sometimes. I'm at DN, middle linebacker, outside. I even guard receivers sometimes. So like, I really can do it.
Yeah. Is there a specific player or that's in the league right now that you kind of model your game after, or a hybrid of or a combination of players?
Before my brother got to the league, I can say I watched Michael Parsons a lot just because I played edge more like the past couple years. But I can say now that my brother in the league, I watch his film a lot and talk to him about everything.
So you play edge and you play a true linebacker position. So which one do you like more? Do you like going after the quarterback, or do you like, just sitting back and being patient and waiting for running backs to hit the hole? What's your favorite thing to do?
I like going out the quarterback to sack the quarterback because like when you sack a quarterback, that's just like one of the best feelings. That's like a pick or forcing a fumble, and then like
Yeah.
watching him get up, the offensive line got to help him up. That's one of the best feelings ever I had.
I've never heard that. You like watching the offensive lineman have to help him up?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? The best thing to hear, especially when you go on the road, is just that silence right after. That
Right.
was always my favorite thing, that silence. Whenever you can quiet an entire crowd. It's easy to
Right.
get a crowd riled up. It's hard to get them silent,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and I can't wait to see you do that. Now, we kind of talked about the league. Here's a fun question. What did you grow up liking? Who is your favorite team? Tell us a little bit about your fandom when it comes to sports.
I grew up. They was the St. Louis Rams at the time. You know, Todd Gurley. He went to Georgia. I'm from Georgia, so I just watched Todd Gurley a lot. So when he went to the Rams, I liked the Rams. And like, I love the Rams now. But since my brother on the Panthers kind of my second team.
Which is completely fair. Got to support the family there. Excited about you coming in and everything. Are you going to be an early enrollee coming in December, or are you going to be coming in the spring?
I'm gonna be an early enroll.
Okay. So you're going to get to come in and go through some of the, late fall stuff. Do you have a specific date you're headed up to Northwest Arkansas?
January 8th.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah. So I don't know if you've been keeping up with the portal stuff, but there's a lot of guys in the portal and we don't know who's coming in. Do you think you'd be able to contribute this next year right off the bat, or do you think maybe they're going to put you back in the depth chart, or like you said, or what do you think you're going to do next year?
I feel like I don't want to say I can come in and start right out the way, or I don't want to say I'm gonna be on the bench. But I feel like if I come in early, since I'm coming early, I get to the weight room, being filmed early, show the coaches I really wanted that they'll put their trust in me and put me on the field early. I gotta work for everything.
Yeah, I was about to say it was really cool seeing your post earlier today talking about we got the announcement Steven Dix was coming back, Xavier Story's coming back. How excited are you to play with guys like that?
Oh, I'm very excited. Sorry, he transferred from Georgia, so like I watched him a lot. But then like when I went on my official visit and like the 2 times I've been back, those are the 2 guys I hung around a lot. So like having those 2 leaders that's going to be in front of me to lead like a freshman. Of course, everybody want to come in and start, but you got to be developed. So having those 2 in front of me that I can learn from them, I really appreciate them coming back for one more year.
Yeah, exactly. Having that veteran leadership is super important.
Right.
So who maybe in your family, is there someone that you look up to, that you use for guidance, or maybe how you want to be when you go into adulthood and whatnot, and tell us why?
A lot of these questions, I'm gonna just say my brother because we come from the same household, so I really seen me grow up. I seen him grow up. I see what he had to go through. He see what I had to go through. So like any questions I ever have, like about this recruitment process, especially when I was cutting it down to the 4 schools I did. He helped me with a lot of things, like what to look out for, what to notice, everything. Then like now that I'm going early, he just like tell me what college is like, what to expect when you get there, and like just what to look out for.
Yeah. Now, remind me, did you come on a visit or come back and see Arkansas during the season this
Yeah,
past?
I came to the Tennessee game. I'm
Okay,
glad I did.
you picked a good one then. What was that experience like, seeing us upset a team like Tennessee and then seeing the fans just kind of storm the field? That was a crazy atmosphere. Is that something that you kind of hope to see when you're here, and kind of how did that make you feel, seeing all that go down while you're here visiting?
It actually panned out great because I had switched schools, and then when I moved, we had a bye week. So I was like, Coach T. Will, I got to come to this game. And then when I got there, I just felt the energy. It's like it was almost sold out. And then like when we rushed the field, like the atmosphere, the whole game was lit. But like I plan on every game next year in the years I'm at Arkansas, every game gonna be packed out. But like the atmosphere was lit, and when we rushed the field, the interaction with the fans and the players and everybody, I love seeing that. Love seeing everybody happy.
Yeah, and it's like that in nearly every one of the major sports, even baseball. Have you looked up any of um like the baseball games or the basketball games, or have you been to a basketball game yet?
No, I haven't been anything, but I came on a visit, and then it was a baseball game going on. It was pretty packed.
Yeah, it gets pretty crowded in there. About 11,000 people. So Arkansas fans are they're kind of crazy. I say kind of crazy. They're really crazy. Have you had any experience with them yet, or are you just kind of staying off social media, not interacting?
Oh, I haven't had a lot of experience with them, but I can say like on Twitter and stuff, I see a lot of things they say. But like if a fan just texts me, I like heart the message or anything, like just to show them that I see it and I appreciate the love that they show.
Um, so as we kind of wrap up here, don't want to keep you too long, but what is something interesting about yourself that you want to let Razorback fans know, um, just about yourself personally?
I can say that I'm a fun person to hang around. Like most players, some players like to get that big head, but I don't want to get that big head. I'm gonna remain the same Tavion I was since I was little. So like fans that come up to me, like just want to talk to me, I'm gonna remain the same as I'm gonna be with you as I am with my close friends. Like I don't want to change for nobody.
That's good, man.
Well, Austin, you have anything else before we kind of wrap up here with Tavion?
No, man. Hey, man, it's good to meet you, and I'm glad you're coming to the Hill, and you're going to be a Hog.
Yes, sir.
I was about to say, yeah, once you get Northwest Arkansas, you have to let us know, and me and Austin here will have to go take you out to lunch or grab lunch or something with you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. So thank you for joining the show, and we can't wait for you to get on the Hill and see you ball out next year.
Yes, sir. Can't wait to be there.
All right. So that was our chat with 4-star linebacker signee Tavion Wallace. Man, what a humble guy, taking the time to come and chat with us and kind of talk about his recruitment with T. Will, the heart attack he almost gave Austin, and what to expect from him. I'm excited. I think he's going to be a big time player for Arkansas.
Yeah, man. No, whenever we flipped him, I wasn't as excited as T Will was. If you remember that viral video, I wasn't that excited, but I was pretty dang excited whenever I found out that he was coming to the Hill. Yeah, and I tell you, man, my kids already give me enough stress on my heart. I don't need these recruits doing it too. But no, that was still funny, and I'm glad it wasn't anything serious. It was more like a joke in between people. So it was a jab at Florida, but they were kind of just um, they were on accident. It was a jab at them on accident. So that's a really cool story and cool to hear about. And it's good to see how humble he was, right? And he's not trying to come in here with a big head. He's not acting like he's gonna start off the bat. And you know what? He might be good enough to where he can really get in the rotation. We'll have to see. But and he brought up I think it was either you or him brought up the good point about having Sorry and Dix coming back and having that leadership throughout his freshman year. That's going to be huge for him and huge for the linebacker group as we go forward.
Yeah. And it's good to see that he's excited to come in and get to work. I mean, it's like the old cliche saying of, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And I mean, he's a talented guy. He's 4-star. He got that ranking for a reason because he's super talented. But he talks about how he wants to come in, he's coming in early, wants to get in the weight room, wants to, watch this film and show the coaches what he can do. You don't always have kids that, are like that. You might have some that want to come in and, think, okay, I'm this 4-star guy. Let me, just come in and, want a position handed to me or, things like that. But to see, like you said, it ties into that humbleness of, wanting to work hard and, just show how good he can be to these coaches.
Yeah. And I mean, in a class that wasn't necessarily the best in Arkansas history, it's great to have, especially him coming in at the top of the ticket,
Yeah, that was big time. So yeah. And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about. We'll switch back to our kind of portal talk and Pittman's press conference. We know Sorey's coming back. We know Steven Dix is coming back. You got a few other linebackers still on your roster that we haven't heard from. We know Brad Spence entered the portal and he's kind of gone. But you got to think of other guys. Bradley Shaw, a guy that kind of the coaching staff really likes, kind of had played some this year. So, and then you've got a few other guys, maybe they flip back, but you're probably going to go out and get maybe 1 or 2 linebackers in the portal to come in and compete to help kind of fill out this linebacker room. So that way you have some depth there. Who knows, maybe Alex Sanford or Brad Spence decides to come back kind of like Selman Bridges did. But, I think this, what was looking a little bit worrisome in the linebacking room now kind of seems like it could be one of the stronger returning groups now with, you're going to have some youth on the defensive line. You're going to have a lot of new faces in the secondary. So, to have that consistency in the linebacker room, especially a guy like Sorey who can kind of be the leader of that defense, he'll be kind of, I assume, that guy with the green dot, that captain of the defense who's going to help run it, get guys in position, things like that.
Yeah, Pittman actually brought it up in the press conference. He said that that last year we all were down and out about the linebacker group because Paul and why can't I remember his name now? Jaheim Singletary, not Singletary, yep. Thomas. They both left. They bolted. They were the best linebackers we had. We had a couple more support guys or guys that we thought were going to make a big difference later. Also hit the portal, like Manny Powell and such. And then all of a sudden, it's probably Arkansas's best position this year, I would venture to say. That or defensive line, it was pretty close. Defensive line might have had to jump with like Landon Jackson, but as a group, the linebackers were really good. So maybe, you just be patient and see how the portal actually, opens up and whatnot. But I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but I'm waiting to see because that's a lot of people to bring in from the transfer portal and have it mesh well together.
I mean, you heard Pittman. He said that they're going to be looking to bring in 20, 21, 22 guys. I mean, and right now that kind of balances out what you have in the portal. And I mean, he mentioned, several positions, but your focus, you're going to have to bring in some offensive linemen, some defensive linemen, some DBs, some safeties, maybe a linebacker or two. You're going to have to bring in several receivers to kind of compete. You know, he mentioned it for the bowl game, kind of looking at depth for wide receivers. He mentioned guys like C.J. Brown, Monte Harrison, Isaac Tesla, you know, of course, that being his last game, but young guys like C.J. Brown, Monte Harrison, who's technically, even though he's 28, just a freshman as far as classification for football. Caffrey Brown, some other guys on this roster that he didn't mention the name. I assume
Joffrey Brown is
going to be here is Jordan Anthony. He didn't mention that name specifically, but I would assume that he could probably play a big role. Desmond James, Cross Johnson, and a few more guys. But he also said something interesting to me. You know, we've lost Luke Haas to the portal. You guys all know the story with Ty Washington and Varkey Scums leaving the program. Shamar Easter is one of super talented freshmen that came in, highly regarded in his recruiting class, the top recruit in the state of Arkansas. He said they're going to give him a shot at wide receiver, maybe. So you might be looking at him transitioning to the wide receiver position for the bowl game potentially.
Cool. I just want to hit back on one thing. Joffrey Brown, is he does he have one more year? I thought he was done after this year.
I think he's going to be done. I think they asked him specifically in the press conference, and he said he was technically, I think, had a medical red shirt, but he said he was done. So he might play in this game, but it would be his last game.
Okay. So, yeah, I just misheard you then. But yeah, no, that was interesting. And like Shamar Easter playing wide receiver. And you know what's cool is that's like the opposite of Trey Knox, right? Trey Knox came in as a receiver and then he converted to tight end. And now they got a guy coming in and tight end, maybe converting to a receiver. And he was a talented guy out of high school. And I'm still a little surprised that he hasn't been able to hit the field. I don't know this for sure, but maybe it's a blocking thing. Maybe he's not really making it with run blocking and stuff like that. Who knows? But whenever he did play against like UAPB, did he have a touchdown or he just had a long pass or a long reception?
I'm pretty sure he had a touchdown in that game.
Yeah. Well, and he looked good. But I mean, it's also against UAPB, which is a glorified high school.
and the reason maybe they're also looking at the potential switch too is for a tight end position. He's a little undersized on, the weight aspect. He's 6'5", which is great height. But on the roster, he's only listed at 228. Whereas you've got Andreas Puska, the transfer that came in. He's 6'6", but he's 265. So he's got about 40 pounds on Easter. So that might be why you're seeing the potential switch to wide receiver.
Yeah, and you had like Luke Hawgs and Ty Washington. They were about the same weight, but they're also 4'2". Well, Luke Hawgs was 6'3", right? So they're a little shorter. So maybe that makes a difference. But what was he out of high school? Did he lose weight, or he was 225 in high school? So he's gained a little bit. Oh, maybe, but maybe he could also be kind of I don't know. It might just be a better fit out there. Who knows?
Right. The other position that kind of they ask him about for the bowl game is, if you think about it, was, with the guys that have left, the offensive line. We kind of talked about it. You have in the portal Kudus, Addison Nichols, Josh Braun, Tykees Crawford. So you're looking at limited depth for your offensive line. And, they ask him about that specifically going into this bowl game. What are you going to do? You've got Fernando Carmona that said he's coming back. So, you got him back. Who's going to snap the ball? That I don't know exactly, because you're losing Addison Nichols, who was your starting center. You're losing Amari Wiggins, who was your backup center. So maybe they have a guy on this roster that has some center experience that can slide over and learned to snap in the, 15 days here before the bowl game. And then he said that you're probably going to see Joe Moore, the transfer that came in this season from, I believe, Syracuse. He came in for his final year. And then Kobe Branham's another one that he mentioned that this staff really likes, that will probably be fighting for one of those starting spots. And then, of course, you're going to have Amarion Harris back. He's a redshirt sophomore as of now anyway. Brooks Edmondson as well got some snaps this year. You also have, as far as alignment on your roster, Keyshawn Blackstock, he's back. He started some this year, had not the greatest games, and had some decent games, probably not what they expected when he came in, but he's a guy that has starting experience that you can use with some of the depth issues you have. You got Josh Street, Luke Brown, Tommy Varhall. Those are some of the other, Aaron Smith, some of the other guys on your roster as far as depth. So you're probably going to see a lot of these guys getting a lot of reps, and I'll be interested to see who comes out there with Taylor on that offensive line, because if they're not ready, he could probably be running for his life a lot in this bowl game.
Yeah, running for his life, not just in pass coverage, but what if a snap goes over his head, and it's a little worrisome, especially at center, right? Like, whenever you think of the offensive line, you think of first left tackle, your blind side tackle, and then the second most important spot is the center.
Because especially because that center is going to be the one that's going to be kind of helping identify coverage and helping make adjustments. So, he's kind of the guy that helps get everything started on that offensive line.
Yeah, he calls out the defense, like he tells you what they're in. And that not only helps the quarterback, but it helps every single one of those offensive linemen. He helps call blitzes. He's basically the quarterback for the offensive line. So now it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. You could have a team effort with it, but it's easier for him being in the middle of the offensive line to see the entire defense versus, a left tackle or a left guard. But also they have to work on that connection with Green, right? It's different taking your first, a read step versus snapping and taking a read step. It's a big difference, and you got to do it quickly. And if you're not used to that, you're going to have mess ups. So whenever we play this game on December 27th, just expect the ball to be on the ground probably quite a bit, like having some trouble fumbling the snaps and or going over the head. That's just going to happen with a guy who's learning how to snap in 2 weeks. Now, some of these guys might have snapped in high school, but it's, they haven't done it in a while. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully they can get something workable before the end of the month.
Yeah, because that's going to be big too, is learning Taylon's cadence. I mean, we saw that whenever, in the Tennessee game when Taylon came out and Malachi came in, Addison had to adjust to A, Malachi was shorter, but B, he probably had a different cadence than what Taylon did. So that's going to have to be adjusted to and learned, and especially whether they're going to have to practice under center, in the shotgun, all the different formations as well. So that's going to be a lot for 2 weeks for somebody to come in and, consistently be able to perform that well. Bryson, we finished the interview probably about 20 minutes ago, so you can go back and watch that once we're done here, and you can see that conversation with him. So that offensive line, that's what I'm going to be watching, because that's going to be key if we have any type of chance to win this game. If you look at Texas Tech, we'll go more in depth when we do our preview with them. But, they were last in the Big 12 as far as defense. So that's something maybe you can kind of hang your hat on, if you will. But even then, Taylon's going to have to, get used to a connection with all these wide receivers that, other than maybe Tesla and C.J. Brown and Jordan Anthony, not a lot of playing time with. So they're going to have to get that connection that, tendencies. What is this guy like? How Taylor kind of, he has his ad lib plays where, if he has to flash out of the pocket, these guys got to know, break off my route and just get open for Taylor and things like that.
Yep. There's a lot of chemistry building that's going to have to take place between now and the end of the month. And I kind of hit on it the last show. I'm pretty sure it was the last show. That this is a completely different team than what we're going to have, what we saw earlier this year. But it's also going to be a completely different team from what we saw last year, right? So while yes, this is going to be helpful in building that chemistry, like do not think that this is how next season is going to be. But also you should watch it because this is the only time you're ever going to see this team play, right? Once in a lifetime opportunity. That's what I'm going to say. It's always going to be a once in a lifetime opportunity from now until they get rid of NIL or, the world ends. That's just the way it's going to be. But yeah, that's the biggest thing, that chemistry building and seeing maybe like he talked about it with Marion Harris, right? How, hey, maybe we should have been playing this guy more. And hopefully maybe we'll find a couple of those too. And we'll feel a little bit better. I don't know about you, but after that press conference, I did feel a little bit better about the situation. Is that kind of how you felt too?
A little bit. I'm still a little hesitant. I'm one of those things where I'll be willing to wait and see what we do in the portal. Because, if things are starting off with picking up McRoy, and that's how we're going to start out getting commitments from the portal, shoot, sign me up. Like, if we're going to go out and get some guys like this, like talented guys, then, maybe we can actually, replace, I hate to use the word replace, but, fill in these gaps of some of these guys that have, decided to explore other opportunities. And who knows, maybe we get some of those younger key guys back, if they quote unquote did it the right way with how Pittman established that, he's willing to let some guys come back if they, played it the right way. And, they're willing to agree on a number as far as, whatever their deal is. Because he said he expects some guys back. We found out one today, Selman Bridges. Who knows how many more there's going to be. Hopefully there's a decent amount more that decide they want to come back. But also to see all the different guys that, we're bringing in, it is a little bit exciting. We have several running backs coming in. We have several tight ends visiting. We have actually offensive lineman that got an offer from Arkansas from Ole Miss. So we might just be, swapping offensive lineman with Ole Miss if Patrick Kudus commits to Ole Miss. And then I think his name is Kyle Broussard.
I don't know. I haven't seen that yet. Did you retweet it?
Tavion Broussard. No, I got it sent to me. He's 6'6", 308 offensive tackle. They'll have 4 years of eligibility from Ole Miss that got an offer from Arkansas. So he's another guy that, who knows, spent the year with Ole Miss, could come in and maybe be a piece of this team next year. We've got some receivers coming in, all those positions coming in. And, it's going to be interesting to see, this past week, it's been all in end of last week. It's been all bad news. This guy's entering the portal. This guy's entering the portal. Well, tonight kind of was the start of that good news starting to roll in. You had, Selman Bridges say, hey, I'm coming back. You had McRoy decide to commit to Arkansas. And, I think as, Pittman says his press conference, give him a few days into next week and, see what happens. So he's pretty confident. He said they had 29 visits lined up at the time of the press conference. He said, who knows, after this, it may be 30, 31, 32 visits. So they're going to have guys rolling in really quickly because, you know, the portal is going to close the day after Arkansas's bowl game. So he's wanting to get these guys in now because they start up a light practice walkthrough tomorrow. And then starting next week, they're going full into bowl practice, and they're going to have 11 practices between now and the bowl game. I believe I saw they are going to head to the bowl game on the 23rd, or head to Memphis on the 23rd. And then, you know, we'll have the bowl game on that Friday. So I'll be interested to see what comes out in the reports, you know, what other guys we get back, what other guys commit to Arkansas. What is this portal class going to look at? You know, historically over the past few years, Arkansas had a pretty decent portal class as far as, you know, guys that they brought in that can contribute. Like last year, Jaheim Thomas was your leading linebacker the entire season, and he's a guy that came in through the portal. Jac'Qawn Jackson this year's, for example, running back that came in, and until he had the injury middle of the season, those first few weeks, he was scoring about 2 touchdowns every game. So, you know, you can go out and get really talented players in the portal, and that's what Sam was saying. He said, you know, not necessarily undervaluing some of these guys coming in, but he said for, you know, what some of these guys are coming to me asking for, we can go out in the portal and get, you know, another guy at the same spot for less than what he was wanting, or we could get a couple guys for that same price. So, I mean, it could be, you know, you're gambling a little bit thinking that you're going to be able to get guys that can come in and be that same caliber of talent that you have that you're losing, or it could be, you know, similar, maybe a little less, could be more. That's the risk that you're taking with the transfer portal.
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, at some point you got to start taking risks, right? You can't make money unless you risk it, and
spend money to make money.
Right. You got to do it. And you know what? They've got some people that they've been talking to. There's actually another offensive tackle that you missed. Alex Walschlager. I think that's what his name is. How you say his last name. Offensive tackle from Bowling Green. He was, you know, like, hardly recruited out of high school, but now he's like a 4-star guy in the transfer portal. 6'7", 305 pounds. Like, if you can start getting guys like that, and people who can come in and really do work on the offensive line, I guarantee you this team's going to be much better. It doesn't even matter necessarily who you bring in to work, you know, weapons wise for Taylor Green. If he's not able to, you know, complete a pass, then nothing's going to work anyway. So you get those guys in, and you get some guys who are, you know, fast or a little bit athletic. Bobby Petrino is going to get them open, right? I don't think that's going to be a problem. And they got great talent at running back already. So I feel like if they start bringing those guys in and putting kind of all the chips in for those guys, I feel like they can have a decently good offense next year. At least one that's going to be able to score when it gets in the red zone.
Yeah. You know, speaking of, you know, those receivers, you know, a couple to keep an eye on. One that is familiar with Petrino is Raylan Sharp. He's a guy that played under Petrino at Missouri State. I think the word on the street was that he wanted to come here last year, but we didn't really have room for him. He went to Fresno, and now he's, you know, looking at Arkansas. He was on his visit yesterday and today, I believe, and then he was visiting Tulane this weekend. But for last season, he had 51 receptions for 523 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaged 10.3 yards per catch, and had 4 carries for 67 yards. But that familiarity with Petrino and that playbook would be big. He essentially, a lot of people have comped him to, this is going to be your Isaiah Satania replacement as far as height, speed. You know, this is going to be, that's the comp that you're going to get from him. There's a couple other guys out there. DT Sheffield, I believe he's from North Texas. Finished the season with 66 receptions, 822 yards, 11 touchdowns, averaged 12.5 yards per carry and had 4 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. And then there's Reggie Virgil, a guy that had 41 catches for 816 yards and 9 touchdowns and averaged 19.9 yards per carry. So they're going after some of these receivers, and sure, maybe they're from smaller schools, but look at Andrew Armstrong, Texas A&M Commerce, and was the leading receiver in the SEC for yards this year. Yes, unfortunately he only had 1 touchdown, which still blows my mind. Yeah. But a guy can come from a small school like that. Maybe he was just under-recruited, or just not given the right opportunity, or maybe Arkansas was the right fit in the right system. So, I mean, just because a guy's from a small school, you can't necessarily rule him out as far as coming in and being a big contributor.
Right. And the thing is, some of those guys that you were talking about, there's a guy. Did you talk about the guy from Miami, Oklahoma, or Miami, Ohio? There's a guy from Miami, Ohio that they've looked at too. I'll have to look up his name, but he's rated as a transfer higher than what Armstrong was rated. So, and Miami, Ohio is a group of 5 school. So it's a little bit better than like Texas A&M Commerce, but still, these guys who are at a lower level, they could just be late bloomers, like you said. I wouldn't, count them out yet. You got to wait to see what they look like. And the thing is, we're saying this, but then we also have Tyrone Broden, who showed a lot of promise, but he never really lived up to the hype either. So it's going to be a hit or miss. And hopefully they have enough hits to, do something better than what we saw this year.
So the guy from Miami of Ohio that you're referring to is Reggie Virgil. He was one of that third set of stats I listed off where he had the 41 receptions for 816 yards and 9 touchdowns.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know what else you can ask for. That's better than what Broden did from Bowling Green. And they're in the same conference, aren't they? Pretty sure Miami and Bowling Green. I think so. So, heck, let's see. And he's 6'4", 190. That's a great size. That's basically replacing Andrew Armstrong. Get him in the weight room for 1 season and see if he can gain 5 pounds, 10 pounds of muscle, something like that. And heck, he could be an SEC receiver. He could be the next leading receiver in the SEC. Let's see.
Yeah, that potential is always there. That DT Sheffield, the guy that we talked about, or one of the stats I listed off from North Texas, he's 5'10", 170. I believe we're getting a visit from an Oklahoma wide receiver transfer, Jalil Farrow, 6'1", 208. I mean, all these visits and interests and offers are coming in quickly. So, as these guys are entering, they're getting the visit. One guy I want to talk about that I haven't heard that if we've necessarily offered or, have him come on a visit is an in-state guy, Giovanni Gibson from UAPB, that we saw him earlier this year. We played against him, 6'3", 205, a guy right in your backyard that potentially, you could bring right up here to Northwest Arkansas. That, like you said, could be another one of those guys. Of course, we want to get some, like we said, nothing against some small schools, but you would like to get a receiver to maybe from, a power conference to come in and have that experience as well. So,
hey, you know who that is, right?
Who?
Giovanni Gibson. You remember before they played the game, they had the interview with him, and it was on a news channel, I think. And he described Arkansas as he was like, they're big but slow. And you know what? When that happened, I was like, what if he goes in the transfer portal and then Arkansas has interest on him? That would be hilarious. I want him just to come here just for that reason.
That way it can kind of flip there. It's like, in the sense, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I want to see. I'm curious what his stats were against Arkansas.
Bro, and he had a good season.
So I'm looking at
1,200 yards.
So according to their, he had 2 catches for 32 yards against us.
Yeah. But to be fair, his quarterback was running for his life most of the time.
That is fair as well. It's hard. Like we said at the beginning of the season, it was hard to take any from that game. We knew the results of that would probably be what it was. So all that to say, you know, be on the watch out for the next few days for, you know, some portal additions and, you know, potentially guys withdrawing their name from the portal. If you haven't already, subscribe to our Facebook page or our Twitter account. That's, you know, anytime we have anything happens, a guy enters the portal, withdraws his name, we get a commitment. We're going to have all that information there for you guys. Austin will have that over there on his account too, either retweeting or, you know, putting out the information. You're going to find it from one of the two of us. But, you know, exciting things are probably coming for this, you know, portal season. We'll see what it holds. And, you know, once we get kind of to the end of it, what that class looks like, and then what Sam Pittman has to say, and then kind of gauge the temperature of how we're feeling, you know, going into next season. But with that, we'll jump over to Arkansas men's basketball, where they got a big win of their own. I don't know about you, but, you know, I was holding my breath that entire final, like 5-4 minutes there, because I was like, what is Arkansas going to do to Arkansas itself, if you know what I mean?
No, you know, every single Arkansas fan knows exactly what you mean. Yeah, man, I was especially right there at the end where they it was like on an inbound, I'm pretty sure. And Arkansas, yeah, it was after Michigan scored, and then they were inbounding or something like that, and they threw it out of bounds, like right off the bat. And I'm like, you're down by 1 point. You got to stop doing this. And then Michigan went down to the other side and did the exact same thing. So, you know, it is what it is.
Oh, are you talking about where they reviewed the play on both sides? No,
this one was blatant, like for sure out on Arkansas. I can't remember exactly the situation, but I was, yeah, they that was crazy. It was like a 32-point swing, 33-point swing from the first half to the second half.
Yeah, because
Arkansas was down by 15, and then they score 30 more points than them, and then yeah, it's just insane.
Right, because you go in the half. Yeah, you go in the half down 4. You come out in the second half and have a 17-3 run, and at this point, you get up 18 points. That's the one thing that we got to work on, is once we get a lead, holding the lead, because, you know, they came back from 18 points down and made this 2-point game, which is extremely too close for my liking. But I will say this is probably the best we've seen this team play all season.
Yeah,
you know, it seemed like they were playing much better as a team. They had more team chemistry, and I think this is the first time all season you have 5 different guys in double figures in points.
Yeah, I mean, even in the first half when they got down by 15, they didn't look horrible. They just what's his name? I don't even want to try that name. I might say something wrong. Chester?
Oh, Cheddar. They were calling
Cheddar.
Yeah.
Cheddar. Yeah, that dude, he all of a sudden he just blew up and had 13 points. He had 3 threes back to back to back. And then he got I don't remember if he got fouled or if he
I think he got in foul trouble, yeah.
Yeah. So 13 points just right off the back as soon as he came in. And that's what really led to Michigan's lead. And then he didn't do anything for the rest of the game. So it felt like they couldn't miss at some points in the first half. And then Arkansas came back in the second half and it felt like they couldn't miss. So it was game of 2 halves. And it was like the exact same half, but in reverse. So it was interesting for sure. But I'm telling you, the way that Arkansas's bigs played, though, that's what I really liked, because Michigan had two really, really good 7-footers. And not only did they have them, they both played together and they played off of each other very, very well. Like, I don't know how many times you've seen one 7-footer alley-oop to another 7-footer like that. But
Well, you had
I
Wolf
haven't seen it a
bringing the
lot.
ball down the court as your point guard.
Yeah, that's insane. So it's a hard it's hard to defend that type of stuff. And they did an excellent job. I thought they did great for what it is. Big Z didn't have the greatest night. You know, he's also coming off of injury, and I feel like his role was a little bit different than what it had been for a while. He was really, I feel like they were really trying to get him to stretch out the floor, because you didn't see him in the paint a whole lot, even whenever he was in. So I don't know about that, but Trevin Brazile, holy cow. The Trevin Brazile of old is back, and I'm here for it. That block at the end of the game, I mean, I think I might have jumped about 2 feet in the air. That was, I don't know how you have that great of anticipation for it.
I was about to say, I'll
and
say
then to
with
come
that,
down with the rebound as well, that awesome, just great stuff.
I was about to say, when you think about that, what a way to make up with 2 missed key free throws that would have put you up, would have built your lead a little bit. And, what a, just effort play to be like, okay, I missed these 2 free throws. He comes down, like you said, has the great anticipation, gets the block, comes down with the rebound, and then get fouls again and goes back to the line. It seems like he's playing a little bit more free this year, last year there might have been pressure on him that they built the offense around him, essentially kind of expecting him to be the guy on last year's team. And you saw at times he just didn't look like himself. There may have been some, not being on the same page with Muss and things like that. But it just seems like, since he's been here with Cal, he's getting back to, like you said, that Brazile that we knew and saw flashes of 2 years ago before he injured his knee. So that's big. And, what a game by Jonas Adu. He's getting healthier and healthier each game. And he comes out, gives you 11 points, hits 5 of 8 from the free throw line, but he leads you in rebounding, gives you 7 rebounds. That's something Arkansas was missing. I mean, that was something that, as good as he is, it's just that's not necessarily the role Big Z is meant to play. And now that you have a guy like Adu back and then Brazile healthy, you can have those guys be the guys that are going to get down in there, fight for the rebounds, and, play that true center big spot where now you can have Big Z play that stretch big, that stretch forward type of role. I mean, he came in, even though he didn't play great, he did hit a key 3 in that second half. But that's going to, I think, help this team, and you're going to see them evolve. And, I mean, everybody wishes, I'm sure he wishes he would have had a better game. I mean, even Nelly Davis coming out and just, he gave you 6 points, but I think he was a good veteran presence for this team. What a night by Boogie. Man, he came back home and showed out. They said he had 40 plus friends, family, teammates, coaches, all that came to watch him play in Madison Square Garden, being from the Bronx and everything. And man, did he show out. 20 points. He shot 6 of 18 from the field, only 2 of 7 from the 3 from deep. But those 2 that he hit were key shots down the stretch. 6 of 6 from the line, 7 assists. We talked about it on the show before this on our recap. When he can put up points like this, but also distribute the ball like this, it's going to be a good night for him and a lot of players on this team.
Yeah, man, talking about that 3-point shot, the one where he missed the layup, or it was contested. I don't really, it was kind of a floater, almost a layup kind of thing. But he missed that. He doesn't get the rebound necessarily, but he's able to get it off to, was it DJ, I think. And then he runs over to the corner, just immediately turns around. I don't even know if he had enough time to turn all the way around before the ball got to him, and just shoots. And I mean, nothing but net. I'm like, he's going to be hitting those type of shots in that arena as a pro too, So that's cool to see it happen right now. But yeah, no, he showed out, dude. For his hometown, he showed out.
I was about to say, and you can't forget his running mate, DJ Wagner, too. He had himself the best game I think we've probably seen him have as a Razorback. 16 points, 7 of 12 from the field. He hit 2 of 3, and one of those was from way out there.
Yeah.
He comes in, gives you 3 rebounds. He gives you 5 assists as well. So both these guards are distributing the ball more, and, this team seems to be flowing more. Adu, being sick, gives you 22 minutes and 13 points at probably 60%. What Adu can do. And now you see these other guys, being able to contribute. Brazil giving you 15 points. Would like him to shoot a little bit better than 2 of 6 from the free throw line. And I'm sure that's probably will get better the more he plays. Because I think they said before his free throws in this game, he'd only shot like maybe 1 or 2. But as he gets healthy, 15 points, 6 rebounds. Him and Adu combined for 13 rebounds. It's like Cal said in the interview after the game. He said, we're just getting started with tapping into the potential of this team. And, I think we all were nervously saying, they're going to get there. They're going to get there. Just give them some time. I mean,
yeah.
Look at them now. I mean, this was a big statement win. You take down number 14 Michigan, which should get you back in the top 25. Is a big momentum game. You need to carry the momentum you gained from this game, the chemistry that you have from this game. Go down to Little Rock, take care of business. Last year didn't go great from Little Rock against Lipscomb, but I think if you can carry the momentum from a game like this, the high intensity, playing in such an environment like Madison Square Garden, and springboard into continuing to develop, man, this is going to be a really good team come, March. And, this team, hopefully they're ready, because you open up conference play with a test against currently number 1 Tennessee on the road. So conference play is going to be tough this year. You've got a lot of good teams: Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama. It's going to be a gauntlet in the SEC. And we say that about football, but how good the basketball has changed over the past few years. That's what you're looking at with basketball. Even Coach Cal compared it to baseball in the SEC. Everybody knows how baseball is in the SEC. It's a week in, week out fight, dog fight. So it looks like that's what you're about to get with basketball this season too.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not a better test for Arkansas than playing Tennessee at Tennessee to start off the conference play, right? I probably will not choose them to win because Tennessee is so good. The thing is, Arkansas is talent-wise, like ceiling of this team, isn't far behind Tennessee. But Tennessee's been playing with each other for a while. I mean, how long has Sakai Ziegler been at Tennessee? For 4 years now? Or has he been there 5? I don't know. It feels like he's been there forever. And, he's probably the best point guard in college basketball, or, at least in the top 3 point guard in college basketball. And Boogie, I feel like talent-wise is probably better than, or at his ceiling is going to be better than Ziegler. I think right now they're 1 and 2 in assists per game. So, and I don't know what Zakai's numbers are points-wise, but let's see.
The thing with Zakai, though, you got to remember, it's taken him a little bit to get to this point where Boogie's there in year one, and we're only probably most likely going to get 1 year of Boogie.
Right. And that's going to be I feel like that's going to be a fun matchup because, Zakai Sigler, he's only like 5'9", and these guys are pretty even. And I imagine that's who they're going to have on Sigler. Is
5'9",
Boogie
171.
So, and they're both New York guys, man. That's going to be a fun matchup, right?
I was about to say, he's averaging 12 points a game, 3.2 rebounds, 8 assists, which is tied for 4th in the nation, and he shoots 42.9% from the field.
Yeah. So that's going to be a great matchup. So 12 points versus 15 from Boogie, and like one's from the Bronx, one's from Long Island. There's got to be because the whole boroughs thing, and then how Long Island's. I think it's a Staten Island. That's a the lost borough or whatever. So Long Island's not even like really considered part of the city, and all that stuff. So there's gonna be some rivalry there, I feel, and I don't know, man. That I didn't even put that 2 and 2 together, so I'm like legit excited about that now.
Yeah, there's a lot of storyline with this matchup. You have Jonas Adu returning to Tennessee, where he transferred from. Ironically enough, with Tennessee, I'm surprised they didn't find a way to get Santiago Vescovi another year of eligibility.
Yeah, geez.
That guy. But yeah, this is going to be a good opening test for SEC play and this Arkansas team. Arkansas's got, just a handful of games here left. They've got 3 games before this matchup with Tennessee. They got UCA this Saturday. They've got North Carolina A&T on December 21st, so 2 Saturdays. And then on Monday, December 30th, Oakland comes to town. And then that following Saturday is when you will be headed to Knoxville to take on Tennessee.
Yeah, and that Oakland game's gonna probably feel good for Coach Cal.
I was about to say him and the other guys. You got to remember that maybe remember that game that transferred over. You got a dude that probably remembers that game a little bit.
DJ Wagner,
those guys. They might want to have a little bit of a revenge game there. I mean, it's not going to be the same team. I'm forgetting his name, but you're not going to have the guy that shot all the threes for Oakland. I'm blanking on his name, but different Oakland team. But they're probably going to have a little piece of the action as far as beating this team, and it'll be a fun matchup to watch. Hopefully, with football being over, that game being after the bowl game, we see a little bit more better attendance at basketball games than we have here recently. That'll be big, especially the way this team played in Madison Square Garden. Why would you not want to go watch them and see the potential that they have for this upcoming season?
Yeah, and like Cal said, Ole Miss, who in the world thought they would be good, even with the because Jans is not Jans. Beard is the coach over there now, right? In the first year, they're doing good. They're ranked number 19.
I was about to say this is year 2 for Beard at Ole Miss. He had him doing well this year.
Yeah,
building upon this year. You look down the list at all these SEC teams. Florida, they're going to be good. They have a few bigs that they have that one guy that he's like 7'3" or 7'4" on their team. You have Missouri that just knocked off Kansas. That's surprising.
Yeah, what the heck?
I think that probably has a little bit more to do than that Kansas was a little overrated than Missouri actually being good.
I don't know, man.
But we'll give them credit. They did beat Kansas, as overrated as they could be. We saw Kansas in person here, even though they weren't full strength.
Yeah.
Kentucky, look at what Mark Pope's doing with Kentucky. They love to be in Arkansas's mention. So that'll be a big game to watch. That would be, one of the top games in college basketball to watch on February 1st. Cal returns to Rupp Arena, and so is Aduthiero, so is DJ Wagner returning to where they used to play and don that white and blue. So that's going to be a big game. You've got, your matchups against newcomers, Texas and Oklahoma. You have this Alabama squad coming to Bud Walton on February 8th. Auburn, you go to Auburn. It's going to be one heck of a season for SEC basketball and a fun ride, I hope.
When you get past Auburn, the schedule, that last 5-game stretch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that looks really winnable, especially going into March and the SEC tournament and stuff. That's that I didn't realize how nice that is. So you kind of get all your big guys right up there at the front, Tennessee, Ole Miss. And then right in the middle, you got Kentucky and Alabama. And then a little bit closer to the end, you got Auburn. But after that, Missouri, Texas, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State. Unless Missouri is a surprise team this year, that shouldn't be a bad stretch right there. Texas, are they ranked? I don't even know. I haven't been able to keep up with the AP poll all that much. No, they're not.
No, the only SEC teams ranked, you've got Tennessee at 1, Auburn at 2, Kentucky at 5, Alabama at 7, Florida at 9, Oklahoma at 13, Texas A&M at 17, Ole Miss at 19, and Mississippi State at 25.
Yeah, you look at that, that sounds like SEC baseball, like he said.
Right.
Yeah, if you would have just told me that off the bat, other than Arkansas not being in the top 10, I'd have been like, yeah, that's SEC. You're talking about SEC baseball. But that's insane. And they kind of proved it with the ACC challenge, SEC challenge, that they're a legit conference now, which is cool because they can, if they do well in the tournament this year, they can pretty much say, hey, we own all 3 of the big, revenue sports. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool to just have on, as a label, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, so Arkansas will be back in action on Saturday in Little Rock at Simmons Bank, taking on UCA, and then they'll head back home to take on North Carolina A&T and Oakland before conference play starts in January. Like I said at the beginning, we'll keep you up to date on all things portal news, guys that commit, guys that withdraw their name, anything we hear regarding this team. We'll have bowl games here in a few weeks before the bowl game. We're going to have our episode, breaking down the game. We'll probably have some guests on. We've got some friends over that do a Texas Tech pod that we'll have jump on with us and kind of help preview this game. So busy time over the next few weeks. We're going to get ready to wrap up here. So stay tuned for Sunday. We'll have our Razor recap talking about any other portal news we have, the game against UCA. So be on the lookout for that. The best way, hit that subscribe button, like on YouTube. That help us immensely. We're right there at that 500 mark. And so that's big for us. We're going to try to do more things like we did with Tavion Wallace, having players on, guys to give insight. So be in tune for that. We'll probably try to have some guys that commit from the portal on and kind of just talk about, what led them to Arkansas, and things like that, and what that means to them and what they're looking forward to. But, with all that, we thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And if you missed the Tavion Wallace interview, you can go back and watch that. Let your friends know they can come watch it. But, hit that like and subscribe button. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, X, Blue Sky, all the social medias. You can find us there at Hawgs on the Hill. So go check us out, hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll be right back here on Sunday afternoon to do our Razor recap and talk about everything that's happened between now and the end of the week and give an update on Arkansas basketball. So until then, everybody have a good rest of the week, and we'll see you on Sunday afternoon.